Okay, so the comment is here. And it's an upcoming route. But from what I've heard, it's supposed to start from the ITH and not the temporary bus interchange. Some additional information, because you can technically push 902 to the temporary bus interchange. So, if that feeder service were to be introduced, you don't necessarily have to merge them. Now, this is not my idea, but when I saw this, I thought this one was the most coherent and the most sound one. I actually like this idea. So I will shamelessly take that image. Because this part over here is like kind of self-explanatory, I don't really need to explain much about this. And then there is also potential to put new bus stops along here. Like around this area, cause this part of Ring Road is like underserved, and it historically no bus ever went inside, like the top part of Ring Road, and not the bottom part. The bottom part is like served by 912 East Loop. The top one, there has been no bus service inside, so sending one in would be good. But the most important part about this route is like the way it loops, like this sort of tiny unidirectional loop that puts you on the correct side of Admiralty. Because the thing is, this side is mostly just residential. But this side is where all the amenities are. Like MRT station, and then there's like a community club if I'm not wrong, and a hawker center on top, and no, I think the CC is around here. And then this one is kind of like a mini shopping center or something along those lines. Because logically speaking, if all of your amenities are like along this side and not this side, you should send a bus service to loop at this side or like call this side instead. This doesn't just apply to this bus service, but other bus services as well. I mean, you see, like 912's East Loop, uh, looping like this. You see 901M currently looping like this, and not the other way around, and not something like this. Because they want to put you on the correct side of the loop, like the correct side, as in the side with MRT and the amenities. This can also be used to explain why historically 941, which was known as 361, under SBS, then it got transferred to TIPS, and then they renumbered it to 941. The reason why 941, I mean the old route, was like routed in such a way is because everything that you see here today, and I'm not kidding, like when I was a kid, like Bukit Batok, this entire area was just forest. And because of that, it wouldn't really make any sense to have a feeder bus like call along this direction. So what they did was they made 941 loop in this sort of like unidirectional, not really, I mean 90% unidirectional clockwise fashion. So go in, and then instead of doing this, I mean there was a period of time whereby they converted 941 to loop like this, but they soon reverted back to doing this instead. And this is especially important because you want to touch the correct side of the estate. And by doing this, I mean, you also like allow these areas to access the bus service as well. But the most important thing is the correct side. This is exactly the same reason. I mean, it's not the only reason, but I mean, the reason is to bring people to Sembawang Road to touch bus services like 980 and stuff like that. I mean, via 800 and 811, but the reason why these two bus services like 800 does this and then 811, the North Loop does this. It's simple. It's to serve this side of the estate. And then the same thing for 800, this side of the estate. There is pretty much nothing along this side. So it is not necessary to call that side. You can see the same thing with the way 325 and 101, the way they loop as well. So 325, notice that it loops along this side, and it doesn't even go anywhere along this side. That's because the residential areas are along this side and not this side. And then in a similar fashion, 101, like this, and then loop, and then this side. As you can see, it's touching this side. This side already has adequate connections by other bus services. So 101 just aims to like touch the residential side. And finally, the most important one. This is kind of the reason why 240 and 246, they cannot become green and white plate. So, okay, there is one reason. Like, if you're coming from Boon Lay Avenue, I think I talked about this before. Like, if you're coming from 175, 174, or 198, 502, or stuff like that, and then from here, you're trying to access like this bus stop. So you take 246, and 246 is the only bus service that serves this bus stop and does the loop like this. So 246 is the only one that connects this lakeside to this area. And because of that, you cannot just simply break the loop of 246. Like from this bus stop over here, I mean the bus stops on top to the bus stop over here. It's an access thing. And the thing is, to most able-bodied people, it's not a big deal, but you have to realize that Taman Jurong has a lot of like elderly population. I mean, the elderly population is like relatively high. So the one benefit of having a bus service call on the correct side of Lakeside and not the other side. Okay, the good thing about this is that if you're coming from Touching Road, you have 246 to be able to get you on the correct side. And from Lakeside, you have 49 to bring you from the correct side to the exact same bus stop. If you live along Corporation Drive, then you can take like 98 as well. So this one, it's a case of you take 246 to the MRT, and then from the MRT you take like 48 or 90. You take 49 or 98 back. If you're coming from Kangching, then you have 240 to the correct side. And if you don't want to cross over and take 240 back all the way here, you could use the other bus stops. You could take 49 and 98 as well. So I know a lot of people, they do like that feeder integration thing. Sometimes they go a bit too far, but I would advise that you try not to make people have to go to the other side of Lakeside MRT. You should make your bus services call along this side instead, as much as possible. And that's kind of the reason why 240, 246, 49, and 98, they all exist as like separate bus services and not like one consolidated bus service. There's actually one more, like 154 to the correct side of Lakeside, and then 49 or 98 back. I mean, depends on where your block is, but yeah. And basically, this is why serving the correct side is important.